Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. It's hello from him. And it's hello from a very excited Sasha, the Guzzy dog. There you go, girl. Alright, so what we're going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about stoves again, but this is going to be the conclusion. And let me show you this. I've just fired up this. Can you see the flame burning in the bottom? That's how you get this stove going. You have to pour some fuel into a little cup around the base of the burner. And what that does is it preheats the whole deal, gets a bit of heat into the tank, pressurizes the tank, which then pushes fuel through the jet and into the burner itself. Let's turn that down a tad. You can see it better there. And gradually just gone out. And now we can really give the burner some lofty volume tea water. Okay. So, off you go, girl. Now, as regards the other burners, I've just got the 4 spirit burners going here. I've got the Tatonka, I've got the Chinook Chinese Trangia knockoff, I've got the real Trangia, and I've got the military burner right there. And so it's minus 12 in here in my unlined sea container, and actually I'm feeling a bit of heat coming off of these. But this sort of shows basically how things are going here. Now if you look at the flames, this is quite a subdued flame on the stainless steel burner. It's quite a yellow flame on the Chinese knockoff. It's a blue flame on the Trangia, and a mostly blue, but with a bit of yellow. Now the yellow is carbon atoms which are excited, which are free and haven't been combined into carbon dioxide. So, you know, looking at it, that one and that one, they're burning efficiently. This has got a much bigger flame on it than that one. And this is a good day to show you this because we're on a metal surface here. And if I'm to hold that, that feels quite warm. That does not feel as warm. So what's happening here is the brass is keeping the heat inside the burner more efficiently. The stainless steel is conducting the heat away from the burner down into the steel base. And that's one of the reasons why, although it's burning well, we're not getting such a big flame, so that will take longer. Now, if this was to be inside a windshield, it would be better because the heat will be contained more. Now, let's look at these two. Let's light them up. That starts pretty easy at minus 12. And so does that. So there was no real problems with any of them starting at this temperature. If the spirit burners do work well, the alcohol is a little harder to light, but these are the bottles that come in the Swedish Army mess kits. And if you put one of these in your pocket and warm the methanol up, if you warm up the methanol, it lights a lot easier. So that's a good tip. And when you're camping, I'm thinking for me, this is enough for 2 days, possibly 3 days, you know, with using the burner in the morning for breakfast and in the evening for an evening meal. Okay, so as regards noise, the back 4 are silent. This makes a bit of noise, don't know if you can hear it. This one is virtually silent. That one is like a mini jet engine, but not too bad. Certainly not as bad as the new things like the Dragonfly or the multi-fuel burners or that kind of thing. Okay, so let's talk about this. I really like this. If I'm going to go for a gasoline burner, this is what I'm going to go for. I'm not going to go for one of those more modern ones that run off a fuel bottle, external fuel bottle, with a hose, sort of similar to this. Reasons are cost. I was in a camping store yesterday. The cheapest one I saw was about $170, and then they went up to $290 for a multi-fuel burner, which will burn 4 kinds of fuel, which is overkill for a motorbike. You don't really need that. If you're on a large multi-vehicle expedition, it might come in handy, but as bike camping, no big deal. Now this, like I've said previously, is an old thing, but you can get Chinese and Russian knockoffs on the internet. I've seen them, and you can get these on eBay. The cheapest one I've seen on eBay was $40, and they sort of go up to $200. I can't remember what I paid for this. It was so long ago, but it works great. And another thing I like about it is it's self-pressurizing. It doesn't need a pump. So unlike the more modern ones where you have to pump, you don't have to do that with this. You light the fuel in the little cup at the bottom there, and then that preheats the jet, it preheats the tank, and then the fuel vapor, the pressure in the fuel vapor inside the tank pushes gasoline up to the jet, and then you light it, and it behaves a little bit like a carburetor or a fuel injector. Yeah, and another thing is the footprint. You know, this does not take much room to set up. It's just that little oblong, really, and then you can put your pan on it, put virtually any pan, whatever you've got on it. And because you've got a really hot flame, a windshield is not quite so important. You can improvise a windshield. Now this one has its own windshield, so that's not really a problem there. That sort of goes on like that. This little one doesn't have a windshield, and it can be affected quite badly by the wind. That's me just blowing gently, so you'd have to cobble up something there. Just let me turn this old girl off. You'll see she does get quite hot there. Obviously, if the thing gets too hot, there's a pressure relief valve there. Now you can hear this a little more. It's not bad. It's not bad. This is silent. Problem with this one is these are flimsy. You can quite easily bend these with a heavy pot, and then you have to make sure you're on a good surface because it's quite easy to tip over. Imagine this with a pot of water, with a pint of water in it. It would flip over quite easy. But if I'm to carry something on my back, this is probably what I'd take because it's so light. And then you can use very lightweight pots in it, like these. I saw some in the store yesterday for about $50. You know, a top and bottom billy pot, which would work great with this. You could put this thing inside the billy pot. That would be ultra compact if that is your modus operandi. That would be the way to go. Now, I bought this last year to take on a camping trip, just to try it out. I was going to get a Transia 27 with a gas attachment to it to try it out, and I think the cheapest of those you can get is 100, and then you have to buy the gas attachment, which is another 100 almost. Although there are various models, you know, the Transias 27 start at 100, go up to 100, 200. And then they have various things like a gas attachment or a kettle or very different materials. The base units are aluminum. And then you have the non-stick, then you have the hard anodized, and then you have the aluminum stainless steel mixture. And then I saw this on offer for about 100, and I figured, well, you know, to buy a Trangia 27 and rig it up with a gas burner is going to cost me close to 200, so this is half the price, and it's virtually the same as a Trangia anyway. You know, you have your base and your windbreak all in one, and then your pans can go on. Excuse me, I've got these little things are for the frying pan, which is this dealie here. It just holds it up a little bit more, and you fold these down. Whoops, I'll do this without getting burnt. You fold them down for the regular pans, so the regular pans trap a bit more heat. So in actual fact, this is pretty much the same thing as a Trangia 27 with a gas adapter. And for me, you know, to spend $100 was well worth it. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. So what I'm seeing is, you know, on a day like today, -12, I'm having to turn this up a little bit more than normal. So these are affected by the heat a little. Gasoline is not affected by heat. These aren't affected by heat once you get them going. Although they did start quite easily today. You might say, well, they take a little longer to bloom, but I don't really count that, because these take time to bloom and that takes time to get going, you know, so swings and roundabouts really. Yeah, so the footprint of this, you know, I took it on a camping trip last year, and it worked very, very well. I took a kettle with me, you know, jolly old kettle. Englishman abroad has to have his tea, etc., etc. And just a $30 kettle, you know, nothing fancy. Made in China, obviously, made out of aluminum, hard anodized. Works very well. But to me, if I've got two pans, I don't really need a kettle. I've got something to heat water in. And another thing is, I've started using my wow, that's hot. I've started using my US canteen cup a bit more. And this comes in a set, you know, with a cover. It looks like this. This is a knockoff, but it's pretty much the same, although this is better. You've got that, you've got your cup, stainless steel, I think. Yeah. And you've got a bottle. Now, this is not the original bottle. The original bottle looks exactly like this, except it's a horrible green colour and it stinks, because it's probably 40 years old and been used by countless soldiers on the way. So throw the bottle away or use it for something else, and then get yourself a Nalgene bottle. These are great, they're nice and light, fit right in there. And I carry them on the bike. Oops. And the good thing about these is they have these Alice clips on them, so you can hook them onto straps on your bike. No bother. Right, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, about boiling water. Now, as I've started to carry this, I mean, if I just want a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, then I'll just put enough water in there to make my cup of tea or my coffee. Put that on, boil that up. That can go on a fire. That can go on that stove, no bother. That can go on this one, no bother. Can go in there, no bother. So, and tea or coffee out of one of these tastes a hell of a lot better, you know. Another thing, you can put it close to the fire. Keep your coffee warm. Excellent things. Get one. But get the ones with the locking long handles. Don't get the cheap knockoff short ones. Get these. I think Canadian ones are virtually identical to the American ones. I like them. That's that. Oh, another handy thing is get yourself one of these fold flat bowls. These are great. Now this one's gone a bit yellow because it was in a window and caught the sun. But, you know, for your breakfast cereal. Oh, come on, for your breakfast cereal or whatever. These are great. These are great. Now, I've been looking at these and they're around $30, $40. You know, I thought, bloody stupid, ridiculous price. But this is in the local camping store for $10. It doesn't look any different to the expensive ones. Absolutely excellent. Biggest problem with the bowl is finding room for it. And if you can squash it flat, it's no longer a problem. Another handy thing is this thermos. This one here has an insulated mug of a decent size, which you can take with you. So when you boil your water up in the morning, stick it in there. You can have coffee or tea on the way without having to stop and light a fire. It's also got a handy top. So that's insulated, stays warm a long time, and the top stores in the bottom. So there we are. There's my stoves. My preference is for that. This one is second. If I can't get alcohol, I'll use that. These are okay, but they take up a little room. The little one is okay if you're carrying the weight on your back, but it doesn't matter so much on the bike. So until next time, it's goodbye from him, and it's goodbye from Sasha, the Guzzy dog. Sasha, come and say goodbye. Well, I guess she's not